Nottingham City of Football set out to do some very simple things really at the very beginning. It simply wanted more people to play football, but it wanted people to play in different ways, in different places.
And the challenge was to particularly get those from underrepresented groups. So that looks at women and girls, it looks at disabled participants, it looks at players from new and emerging communities in the city.
We could have £1.6 million to put and invest in the city to help people find their football, to get involved in sports, but at the same time build value-added services that would help health, that would help community cohesion, that would help young people, that would help minority groups in the city.
One of the things that City of Football's done is give a new lens through which to view Nottingham nationally.
Our approach from the very beginning was about empowering the communities. So empowering communities meant it has to be sustainable. In the past, people have done some great intervention in the city, but when the funding dried up, the intervention, the service stopped. We said, no, let's take a systems approach to this. What are the transactions? What processes have to be in place to make this sustainable? And the core of it is having a workforce that's fit for purpose.
This is the first time we've rolled in coaching when it hasn't been for an aim, either to develop a player, to progress them on to a higher standard, or coaching with the focus on a game at the weekend. Coaching with the Nottingham City of Football, it's been more of a case of the focus has been to provide football for everybody in an enjoyable format, still structured, but with more of the focus on the inclusion and the enjoyment.
We coach a whole different range of people, girls, boys.
Like really rare for women especially, but then for it to come from an ethnic minority background, that's like really rare. And then when a few girls like would walk past and just see, like know that we've coached as well, it encourages them.
I used to be so shy, and as soon as I started my level 1 coaching course, because when I did my coaching course I was the youngest and I was the only girl, and it was all men, so it gave me a lot of confidence, and now I just feel comfortable around everyone really.
They were trying to do something quite different for a sport project with the whole initiative, and it was trying to create a youth sport to bring together different parts of culture, different parts of the city. So it wasn't just about physical fitness and the kind of stuff that I didn't enjoy about football when I was a kid, so competitiveness and all that sort of stuff. It seemed to be about creating new ways to use football to speak to different audiences. So that was a big surprise to me, and that was really exciting, and that's how we kind of accidentally ended up really, really involved in the project.
The whole premise of our relationship with City of Football is around doing things differently, being more creative as well. So that's put us in front of different people, maybe groups we've never worked with before. So that's opened up a lot of doors for us in terms of how we reach out to people and work with people we traditionally wouldn't work with.
There wasn't a lot of interest or support for what you see as like grassroots community teams who weren't going to be part of the established setup that the FA and the leagues, governed. So this is the thing now. You see, with the City of Football gave you that sort of a degree of authority in their existence, who they are and whatever, because they come with that sort of quality to their, and the direction that they're going in is what we want, and they weren't sort of rigid and full of the rules and regulations. This is how it is, and you just either fit in or don't fit in. We'll be flexible. We'll work with you.
That's right, because they pretty much listened to us, didn't they?
Yeah.
So we sort of went to them and saying, look, this is what the players want, and that's what they listened to, and went, okay, let's set something up then around that.
I think the major influence the City of Football's had on the FA is in the early stages it was about working in partnership and really working with lots of very different partners that we'd never worked with before. So we did loads of work with the Creative Quarter, lots of work with the Game City, Left Lion, all these different organisations that have got nothing to do with football but really brought lots of different ideas, innovation, creative ideas that actually will help us get into different markets that we want to get playing football.
The reason we decided to get involved with City of Football is we thought their innovative approach to gaming was good in terms of sports and getting young people's well-being up and introducing them to sports they've not seen before. There's also a network of the wider society in Nottingham. The network they have with sports clubs is really helpful to us to really set some good connections up.
The Python Club were really well established before the City of Football came, and we were doing some fantastic work in areas. But when the City of Football came, they gave us an extra boost. They brought things like the Game Changers, they brought things like the NCS programme to the Python Club, and actually gave us the opportunity to work in facilities like this and engage with really hard to reach on people that maybe we couldn't reach in our kind of scope and our funding levels as well.
So we measured everything we did. Anyone who came to any of our sessions, we captured data on. We captured data on their physical activity levels. We captured data on their attitude to football, on how much football they played. So we now know that approximately 59% of people who came to our sessions hadn't played before or played infrequently. We know that we got around 44% of our participants were female. We also captured their data about where they lived and their ages, so we know that over 50% were from the 14 to 25-year-old age group. And then at the end of the project, we followed up with that. We've gone back to people and asked them about their football habits as a result of their engagement with City of Football. So are they still playing? Are they playing somewhere else? Are they playing more frequently? Have their physical activity levels gone up?
Well, so I was 29 and I'd just finished playing with this club, and I suddenly came out there and thought, oh right, I best go and find myself a new club, which I've done in the past. It's not something I've not done before. But as I went out there, this slow realisation came upon me that all these teams were filled with players that were at most 22, if not younger, and certainly a lot fitter and faster than I was. And all of a sudden I was like, this is it. There's nothing out there for me.
Children with special needs are so often segregated and excluded from mainstream activities, and often you can go to a disabled group, a disability football group, or you can go to an elite academy type football group, but you can't actually join all the kids together and let them just have fun together and learn together.
I'm at this point where a year ago I was going, I'm never going to play again and woe is me, to wow, I am playing in a league on a Monday night, I'm going to training on a Tuesday. Sometimes we're still having friendlies with other teams that City of Football sort of pulled out with their reclaim the pitch night. Particularly the celebration event, a lot of teams came with that heard about City of Football, and it's connected them all up into this league.
Most people were very, very unsure about whether it could work, and even less sure that it would work. However, after approaching City of Football, after a few weeks, they were able to give us a decision that yes, that they would be willing to run with this idea and give it a shot and see how it went, and that was fantastic.
I think the idea of the City of Football initially was treated with some sort of contempt from the FA, but as soon as we started to understand what the idea was, we felt it was a real good opportunity to trial some new things in local areas to find out how actually could we grow football in a real localised area.
We're really looking to our partners and our stakeholders to take on the learning and the different ways of working that we've started with them and started them thinking differently, and actually to take that forward and develop that further.
I just want to say that City of Football has been a real asset to our local area, to the children who've been able to take part, and to myself to actually give me a bit of a boost and to get things going again in the meadows.
The idea really was that it was almost a movement. It was a sort of a whole collection of people doing things together, collaboratively and for themselves.
I wanted to find somewhere I could play. I wanted to find my football, and I found my football and I love it.